Hello and welcome to Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Okay, I'm going to jump straight in here as we just had a power cut and cut my last video short. So we're going to complete the Defender's Heart and talking to the various NPCs here. And I wasn't tied to the table anymore. I was standing near it, and someone else was lying on the table, a burned corpse covered with a black crust. The master took out a handsaw and was sawing off his head in a very focused way. I should have run back then, but I couldn't for some reason. This burned corpse had a symbol on his belt, just like I do, an eye and a star. My favourite belt, a good one. Where would a stranger get one? It must have been someone from my clan, some distant family member. The storyteller stops. When he speaks again, you hear only a muffled whisper. Those crusaders, I was glad when I saw them. I thought they'd come to help, but how? How was it that I killed them all? Someone told me to, and I obeyed. I don't understand. I understand nothing now. I need to catch my breath. I need all this to stop, even just for a minute. I just have to understand what's happening to me. Just need to rest. The storyteller shakes his head, slowly coming to his senses. That is Finian's past, but what awaits him in the future? The dead have no future, but, the storyteller smiles, I see an endless ocean on a good day and a boat flying over the waves. I'm so excited, but I don't know whose vision this is. Is this a soul existing here and now, or a soul reborn? Thank you for your story. The storyteller gives Finian back to you. Please take care of this young lad. He is finally in the right hands. Do not worsen his suffering by involving him in dishonourable deeds. Oh dear, he really has had a hard time of it. Come on, Grandpa Elf. I can't take care of myself. I can take care of myself. I'm not a kid. I don't know what horrors you were talking about, but don't you worry about it, all right? Look after yourself. We have more important things to do. Return with new stories. I shall be waiting. Can I help you? The storyteller nods gratefully. I appreciate your offer. I have reason to believe that somewhere in the Canabras there is a manuscript offered by an elf from Kynin who witnessed Earthfall. The storyteller's voice suddenly breaks and he stops for a moment. For personal reasons, I would like to examine it, but no matter how hard I try, I have failed to find it, even in the Blackwing Library. I only found a mention that the manuscript exists and is held somewhere in the city. I assume it's stored at the Grey Garrison. They wouldn't let me into the archive when I visited. All those crusaders were nervous about this strange blind elf interested in their secrets. It's understandable. The crusade naturally made them a little paranoid, but now the Grey Garrison has fallen into enemy hands. I would be grateful if I could see the manuscript. I want to know more about you. The old elf permits himself a faint smile. I'm not surprised. A strange, peculiar-looking elf with unusual powers who comes from afar and calls himself a collector of stories. Such things usually spark some interest. I will answer your questions. Where are you and where are you from? Before, I would have said that I was a blacksmith from Kynin who lost his sight and then found his true calling in a new craft, that of a story collector. But I have lately begun to suspect that those words are no more than a lie. The old elf chuckles sadly. It's quite the irony. I never thought I'd have cause to complain about my memory. It holds the stories of the entire world, but I've noticed more and more alarming signs recently. I encounter ancient stories and see myself in them. I don't remember those events, but stories cannot lie, so it means that my memory is lying, and I intend to get to the bottom of it. I'm looking for proof that my visions are true, and for the reason why my past has been hidden from me. You look ancient. I thought elves didn't get old. The blind man straightens his bony back with dignity. As you can see, we do if we manage to live for many thousands of years. There may not be a single mortal in this world older than me. The storyteller sighs and continues with a sad smile. Anyway, it's not about time. It's about the stories I keep inside. There's so much suffering and sadness in this world, and in my stories too. I've lived every one of them. I've drunk this bitter experience and accepted it in my heart. It's hard, the weight of all this suffering on my shoulders, but I wouldn't trade my burden for any other. Where did you get your strange powers? The storyteller shrugs. I've always got along well with things. I used to be a blacksmith, that I know for sure. I've always felt the essence of things, their spirit. For as long as I can remember, I have always been able to feel the traces of memories and feelings left on things by their former owners. I don't know where this gift comes from. Maybe having taken my sight, the gods granted me another sense. How do you see into the future? I cannot say. Such visions are new to me. My instinct, as always, worked towards the past, not the future. But something changed. Everything changes, so do I. Perhaps right now the stories that are yet to happen are more important than the ones that have happened already. Why did you come to the world wound? Searching for the truth about my real past has brought me here. I saw myself in others' stories. In them I was called the elf in the tower. Now I'm looking for this tower, my tower, everywhere. I've been to many places. I've visited islands and deserts, but I haven't found it. There are very few uncharted territories on my map. The world wound is one of them. How do you collect your stories? The same way a court philanderer collects his conquests, the way a healer has a personal cemetery of patients he failed to save, the way every person, including you, has a box of secret, most precious experiences deep down in their soul that no one is allowed to touch. The world is not made of things or matter even, it's made of stories. They move from the past to the future, piercing our world at the point of here and now. They give meaning to everything. They are the meaning, and everything else is only the setting required for stories to exist. There is nothing more real and alive than a story, and anything real and alive can die or be destroyed, distorted, forgotten. But as long as I carry these stories with me, they will not be lost. This is why I don't often share my stories. By sharing one with you, I give you the right to tell it to others, to distort and embellish it inadvertently or advertently. How can I be sure that you will keep its original purity? Stories travel from one person to another. They change, become distorted, turn into tall tales. This is why I keep my stories to myself. I have no more questions. That's what you think. In fact, the world is full of amazing things, and you still have a lot of questions. They haven't bubbled up to the surface of your consciousness yet. I have a few questions about your encounter in the Blackwing Library. Of course, I make no secret of why I came to the library. I was looking for something. What were you doing there? I was looking for a very old thing. Rumour has it some ancient scroll or book page about the times of Earthfall is held in Canabras. According to the legend, it describes the last days of the proud kingdom of Kyanin, later abandoned by the elves fleeing Galarian. I have a vague hope that the events described in it will shed some light on my past. Did you find what you were looking for? The storyteller shakes his head gloomily. Alas, no. But I found proof that the book I'm looking for is in Canabras, or at least a part of it is. I see. Thank you again for your help. I have to go. I wish you interesting adventures. Okay. Now we can move on, and it's Nenio's turn. Boy, am I pleased with you. I asked you to bring me safe to safety, and that's exactly what you did. Indeed, having a follower to aid me is most efficient and frankly pleasing. With you on hand, I shall conquer new horizons, thumb the depths of knowledge hitherto unknown, and scale the dizzying heights of future discoveries. Nenio stops to catch her breath. What I mean is, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude. I foresee immense potential in our future cooperation. Happy to help. Hand in hand, we will unravel the greatest mysteries inaccessible to the minds of ordinary people. Just imagine it. I, leading the way, proudly staring into the faces of the gods themselves, and you, my loyal follower, walking behind me every step of the way, writing down my deepest thoughts and admiring the profundity of my intellect. Do you always express your delight so effusively? What? Who are you? Nenio stares at you for a while, bewilderment in her eyes, but then it is replaced by recognition. Oh yes, my new follower. So what am I supposed to do? Oh yes, I must provide some verbal encouragement for your as yet modest achievements, and try to induce you to strive for more of such encouragement. That is the principle that underpins any training. She frowns, but only for an instant. Ah, I see. Your modest nature was unsettled by the overabundance of my gratitude. I do apologize for putting you in such an awkward position. I will never praise you again, unless I forget. But let's get back to the business at hand. Your new assignment will be to take me to the inconspicuous ruins that are located in an even more inconspicuous valley lying between Canabras and Dresden. As soon as it is reasonably practicable, I'll mark the place on your map with a large red cross so you won't forget it. What's so special about these ruins near Canabras? I'm glad you asked. This is my greatest hypothesis, my secret project, and I won't pass up on the opportunity to share it with you, because you are my most loyal follower and you are worthy of possessing such knowledge. Nenio rubs her nose, and also because you're the first person to ever ask me about it. Some time ago, I was walking around the border of the world wound, and I met a strange person. He was wearing a frayed grey robe, and his face was hidden behind an odd white mask. Of course, I didn't miss the opportunity to ask him about the reasons for his absurd appearance, and do you know what he said to me? He said, I am the answer. But what is the question? Then he walked off in the direction of the world wound. The next day, after I had already forgotten about the first encounter, I had another similar encounter. This time I met an elven woman, judging by the pointy ears sticking out from behind the mask. I am the answer, but what is the question, she said, before taking off towards the world wound, and then I realised everything became clear to me. I know a mystery when I see one. Consider this one of my myriad talents. Nenio rubs the tip of her nose. After all these geysers were simply on their way to a costume party, were they? After examining several maps, I determined they were all heading in one direction, to a place not far from Canabras, a place which is marked as a nameless ruin, even on ancient Sarkorian maps. This is where I need to go. Unravelling the secret of the place will be my greatest discovery. It will secure my place in history, or perhaps even in legend. How do you know where we have to go? Do you know how to find a beehive in a forest? You need to catch 2 bees, set them free in 2 different locations of the forest, and remember the directions they fly in. Then you take a map and draw lines, showing the bees' routes. The place where the lines intersect will mark the locations of the beehive. Fascinating, yes? By the way, forest bees do not make any honey. Nenio sighs. I used the beehive principle here too, for a couple of months. I tracked the strange people in the masks, and I observed the direction in which they were travelling. I collected the coordinates, mapped their estimated routes, and made a discovery. All the routes intersected at the nameless ruins not far from Canabras. What do you expect to find there? I haven't the slightest idea. If I knew what was hidden there, I wouldn't be so eager to go. These ruins aren't very far from Canabras. You could easily get there all by yourself. Why do you need me? Nenio's eyes seemed ready to pop out their sockets in surprise. Don't you see? This is a legendary secret place. Who knows what may happen to me after I lift the veil and cover the workings of the universe? My mortal body may be unable to contain all the knowledge, or perhaps I will ascend and become equal to the gods themselves. I need you to write down everything that happens and report my fate to the interested parties in Absalom. And don't forget to praise me as I deserve while you're there. You know these ruins of yours may turn out to be just that, ruins. Nenio shrugs. In that case, we'll write this experiment off as a failure and start another one. I don't know which experiment I'll try next. That's all I wanted to know about your task. Well, now you know, so off we go. Nenio frowns. Did I just make a rhyme? Perhaps I've discovered poetic talent in myself. Let's conduct an experiment. Quickly, say any word and I'll try to find a rhyme for it. Iomade. Say, Discari, go away. If you play, you need to pay. Every shade of colour grey. Not the best rhymes, don't you think? Well, this experiment was unsuccessful. We learned that I have no poetic talent after all, Nenio sighs. But it is no reason to despair. Having a gift of poetry in addition to my inexhaustible intelligence would have been a little too much. Besides, I'm catastrophically busy and have no time to spend on writing poetry. Tell me about yourself. I am an explorer, a pilgrim, a yet-to-be-recognised scientific luminary, future author of the Encyclopedia Gallarionica, and rector of all Absalom's universities at once. Future rector, I should say. Nenio speaks in one breath, as if reading off a practiced monologue. The information should be enough to satisfy your curiosity, because I doubt I will be able to tell you more than that. You see, the brain of any given individual can contain only a limited amount of facts. I only expend my memory on things that are truly important. The laws of thermodynamics, divine esoterica, planar geography, things like that will lead Galarian to a brighter future. Nenio rubs her nose. Besides, what if I make a great discovery, but I won't be able to remember it, because my memory is full of outdated or useless information? What a nightmare that would be. What a loss for the whole of Galarian. Where are you from? The information is irrelevant. I've decided to forget it. How did you become a scientist? The information is irrelevant. I've decided to forget it. You have a circle tattooed on your shoulder. What does it mean? Nenio casts a sidelong glance at her shoulder. Oh, that. I do not remember the circumstances of its creation, but I like it. I prefer to think of it as a zero, null, nothing, a centre point, an origin of coordinates. It reminds me how much of an unknown world there is to explore. Do you remember how you got this tattoo? The information is irrelevant. I've decided to forget it. How can you just decide to forget important pieces of information? This is just one of my many talents. The secret is to stop thinking about the thing you want to forget. And the main thing is to not to remember anything you don't need, to filter it, to get right to the essence. I'll teach you someday, unless I forget. What is this encyclopedia you're working on? The Encyclopedia Gallarionica will be published in 100 volumes, 1,000 pages each, plus the author's addenda, appendices, added by future co-authors, and critical commentaries. Addenda indexation is still in question. Nenio looked slightly embarrassed. I just like the number 100, but I'm not sure that I'll be able to keep within the established word limit. It will be a magical piece of scholarship that will become a part of the mandatory curriculum of every educational institution worth mentioning. In it, I intend to describe every object, item, event, fact, and personality that is present on or at least somehow related to Galarian. My calculations show that I have completed no more than 1% of this monumental book. Do you remember your parents, your past, or is that all irrelevant too? All of it is irrelevant on the grand scale of world history. I have no reason to remember such things. I admire your capabilities of your memory. Nenio, stay silent, gives you a puzzled look. What? What were we talking about? I'll stop torturing you with questions for now. What were we talking about? I don't need to clarify any things. We've already talked about that, so I have to go. Nenio produces a crumpled piece of paper from her sleeve and takes some notes on it. This conversation lasted approximately 5 minutes. She lifts her chin. By the way, did you know that is exact same amount of time the Inquisitors of Canabras need to find a defendant guilty? But to shake off Inquisitors chasing you takes 5 times as long. That experiment proved that running while clad in heavy armour is not burdensome for them at all. Okay. We will keep going round and speak to Visali. Are you all right? Abadar willing, will hold out here until the army arrives. Whenever I sleep outside the walls of the Defender's Heart, I'm plagued by terrible dreams. Can you help me? The priest studies your face carefully. You look tired, but otherwise entirely healthy. If we were anywhere else, I would simply tell you to get some rest. But we're on the border of the world wound, and I'm too aware of what's happening to you. As you know, the wound is a rift between Galarian and the Abyss, and all the evil that feeds the Abyss does the opposite in our world. It feeds on Galarian. So it is that even when we cannot see demons near us, our ultimate foe, the Abyss, is always surrounding us. Many soldiers fighting in the world wounds experience similar things. They suffer terrible nightmares, get no peace, and sometimes even lose their minds. But we are trained to help with this affliction. But by the will of Abadar, I have consecrated an altar here. The god's grace permeates the space around it, soothing one's soul and quieting thoughts during rest. So if you find your nerves are fraying, seek out a holy place like this, approach it, and all the corruption will be cleansed from you. Okay, I have to go. May Abadar aid you. Actually, I just need to check if they're selling anything, but it's good to know that you can clear your corruption here. I don't think I've got anything extra. No. Right, okay, so price and descending. I want this one, definitely. Do I have any? Doesn't look like I do. I'm going to get a basic scroll kit for now. Where are we? Because I don't think I've got anyone who can do potions just yet, and I'm not really using them at the moment. There's opportunities for a few bits here. There's a couple of bits I might want later. Don't have enough money at the moment. Okay, I'm good. Right, we'll deal with that. Close, and I will give that to Seela because she has Ice Plant. And that gives her an extra 2 armor class, which is very healthy. There is also a ring that grants 1 luck bonus and all saving throws for fire effects. I'm going to give that to Andre for the time being. Okay, carrying on. We've got to speak to Anevia. Anevia. In her muted colours, blends almost perfectly into the background. She appears relaxed, but her seemingly unfocused eyes are taking in everything around her, tracking and filtering potential threats. The only tell is the way she drums her fingers on her hip near her weapon sheath. She shows no signs of her injuries and confidently leans on a previously broken leg. She pretends to have just noticed you, even though she watched you approach from afar. Oh, hey! See how they patched me up? Now I can run, jump, or dance a jig, if I feel like it. Are there any suspicious places in the city that I should pay attention to? There were a couple of spots I wanted to check out, but I didn't have time. If there really is a den of cultists there, it would be good if you could swoop in there and bust some heads. You don't even need a search warrant. Navia shoots you a crooked smile. First one is the Silken Thread. It's a funny little tailor shop that doesn't take any orders and never buys any fabric. They always seem to be oh so busy. They're busy with something in there all right, but sewing ain't it. Second one is the alchemy shop Topaz Solutions, and they trade in everything, not just healing potions. Judging by the ingredients they've been buying on the black market, there's something fishy about the alchemical rituals going down in that place. Tell me about yourself. She shrugs with a lazy smile. I'd be happy to, but there's kind of nothing to tell. What's so interesting about me? Where are you from? Nowhere. I was blown in by the wind and found in a cabbage patch. She stopped short. Sorry, that's an old habit of mine. I don't like blabbering about my past. But you saved my skin, so I guess I kind of owe it to you not to clown around, right? I'm from Nidal, and I wouldn't wish my homeland on my worst enemy. You've heard of the place, I'm sure. Ruled by monsters that aren't alive nor dead, and the official religion is the cult of Zonkuthon. I grew up in a slum, like a weed between the cobblestones. I didn't have a dad, but I had lots of aunts and uncles. My mum's cronies. No prize for guessing the kind of business she was involved in. They gave me a set of lockpicks as soon as I could hold a spoon, and while other kids were picking their noses, I was picking pockets. When I was 12, the monks of the Silent Shrouds came for us, creepy guys with their mouths sewn shut. They're the guards in this rock. Mum gave me to her friends, and we hid in a secret temple of Desna. I never saw my mum again. I lay low in the temple for the next few years, kept my head down. I washed floors, fetched water, listened to the sermons. Funny thing, after a while I started liking Desna's teachings, but as soon as I was old enough, I was out of there. I left Nidal and got as far away as I could. Your mother should have hidden you in the Temple of Shaylin. Zonkuthon forbids his flock from harming her followers. My mum couldn't tell her Iomade from her elbow, but she knew the city underbelly like the back of her hand. What to get and where to get it, where to lay low. I don't know if there were any Shaylinites in Nidal, but if there were, I doubt they were rubbing elbows with gutter snipes like us. Quite a ragtag group you've got here, from nobles to street thieves. You got that right. Haha, only the best for you. What do you do if the knights and nobles fail to save the world? The lowlives are our only hope. How did you meet Irabeth? I was bumming around Timon a while back, doing this and that. Desnan temples sometimes gave me odd jobs. You know, sometimes they needed people with skills like mine. On the surface, it was fine, I guess. After Nidal, the freedom of River Kingdom should have seemed like heaven, my chance to sit back and enjoy life. But I wasn't happy. There just wasn't any joy in my new life. I was all alone. No one cared about me, and I didn't care about anybody either. I struggled to find a reason to drag myself out of bed every morning. Tying a stone around my neck and jumping into the nearest river started to look pretty appealing. One day I was hired to follow some fellows who the local authorities suspected were Rasmarin spies. I was stupid. I made a rookie mistake and they caught me. It's like my body had already decided to do what my mind had been fighting, to finally put me out of my misery. Get someone else to kill me, since I didn't have the guts to do it myself. They grabbed me. I thought they'd gut me on the spot, but instead they hog-tied me and dragged me off. And just like an animal going to the slaughter, my only thought was, let's get this over with. They brought me to their stinking cave, threw me on their altar, and I realised who it was. Cuthites from Nidal. They tracked me down after all those years, but I didn't care anymore. Wouldn't even have cared if they'd eaten me or whatever. We all got to go sometime, right? So I was lying there, staring at those knives pointing at me, when the fate rolled the dice and I hit the jackpot. Irabeth. There she was, storming into the cave. Picture it. I'm lying on the altar with all these knife-wielding maniacs around me, and suddenly Irabeth storms in. I thought it was Iomade herself, fierce in her shining armour with a gleaming sword raised. She made quick work of those scumbags, chopped them up just like that, and didn't even have time to blink. She untied me, and then, Nevia's face lights up as she chuckles. She looked through the papers they had on the table, and she started swearing like a sailor. So much for Iomade. Ha ha. How did you and Irabeth end up in Canabras? After almost becoming a human sacrifice, I knew I never wanted to leave Irabeth's side. Desna knows I fell for her instantly, and I fell hard. My misery was gone, and when Irabeth showed me what was in those papers, proof that the cultists had a nest in our home city, well, I offered to help without a second thought. Anevia smiled warmly. She must have figured I couldn't wait to get my revenge on the cultists, but I didn't give a damn about them. It was her. I'd go anywhere with her, even on a crusade, or into the jaws of a dragon. But I took to life in Canabus like a duck to water. I used to be an outcast wherever I went, but half of the Crusaders are the same. After all, who'd volunteer to tangle with demons on the edge of the abyss? You've got to be either a goody two-shoes with too much honour and free time, or a misfit with no life out in the normal world with normal people. People come here to run away from their debts, their past, from themselves, so I fit right in. What's it like living with Irabeth? It's like living. Without her, I wouldn't be. Seriously, if I were alone, I'd definitely be gone by now. Sure, sometimes we argue, can't deny that. Sometimes we bang our fists on the table and yell so loud that the walls shake. That's all about order business. But at home, well, I'll give you an example. I've kind of always wanted to move out of that broom closet we call a house and into somewhere cosier. It ain't like they take a vow of poverty at the Eagle Watch, but every month, somehow, most of our spare money is spent on Crusader business. Sure, I get mad about it, but, Anevia makes a helpless gesture, it's part of why I love her so much. You know Irabeth has this thing that matters most for a person, a purpose in life. She always got a reason for doing what she's doing. Her whole life is a crusade, and I just drifted around like a leaf in the wind until Desna brought us together. Now she's the meaning of my life, so it really makes no difference if we live in a mansion or under a bush. Thank you for your answers. What are your responsibilities in the Eagle Watch? Anevia smiles evasively. Nothing official. I'm not even a knight. You know, I just hang around. You sure you want to know the details? Catching traitors and spies and cultists is no walk in the park. It's a delicate job. You can always do it all within the letter of the law. You can't always do it all within the letter of the law. What if we surprise some suspicious blighter with an official search? Everyone will know about it before long, starting with their cronies. Then again, sneaking into people's houses at night ain't exactly legal. Crusaders can't be doing stuff like that, can they? Well, I'm not exactly a knight. She trails off. I have to go. All right, you watch yourself now. Okay, carrying on. We now have a little chat with Hilor. Do you know anything about a Pathfinder named Finian Dismar? Hilor rubs his chin. Let me think. Dismar. I've definitely heard that name before. Finian the talking weapon. Of course you have. I'm a Pathfinder too, so you're the chief in these lands now. What about Lady Ori? When I left for the wound, she had taken up the position. Hilor examines the talking weapon and chuckles sadly. I'm afraid Ori perished during the Third Crusade. Yes, now I remember. Finian Dismar went missing in the wound at the end of the Second Crusade. His name has been on the list of the fallen for a while. Here I am, alive and well. Write in your lists that I'm back, and soon I'll file a detailed report about everything that happened to me. Finian's voice is full of joy. I knew it was a misunderstanding, but now everything will return to normal. I need to write to my folks. They probably think I'm dead too. Miller shakes his head sadly. Poor lad. But such is the fate of a Pathfinder. We face the unknown, but sometimes the unknown wins, and our minds cannot take it. I have to go. Good luck. Watch your back. Only trust your closest friends. The enemy is cunning and treacherous. Go and speak to Irabeth now. Irabeth rubs her red and tired eyes. Any success? How is the city? What is our strategy for the attack on Grey Garrison? I shall lead the rest of my forces in a frontal assault. This will distract the enemy enough to let you use the secret passage and reach the wardstone. Destroy it before the demons turn Iomede's gift into a weapon of the abyss. Most of the allies you found will join my forces, but you can expect a certain amount of support from them. The problem with Desnans is that you never know what to expect from those daydreamers. Their honourable prior, Ramian, claims he has the vision in which his goddess was putting demons to sleep. I'd like to hope it wasn't merely a dream. The Order of the Flaming Lance counts among its members both valiant knights and masters of the occult. We are about to test an experimental ritual they developed. Should it all go according to plan, your party will have a serious advantage during the battle at the Grey Garrison. In these dark days, the most unlikely allies join forces to fight the common foe. All tieflings are treated with prejudice in Canabris, let alone the smugglers and the thieves of their kind, and yet they are on our side, and I'll make sure their contribution is not forgotten after the victory. They'll be of little use in open combat, but they'll help you spot secret doors and warn you about traps. Right, I'm not going to say we're ready for the attack. The Tower of Estrod has been cleared of demons. Great! The places where the demons have gathered need to be cleared one by one. Then they won't be able to stab us in the back when we take on the Grey Garrison. Thank you for your service. I have to go. Go. May Iomedae keep you safe. Okay, so that has finally completed the dialogue that I've got in here. So we'll move outside. And I don't think there's anyone I need to talk to out here. There's a few extra people, but they're just going to tell me the stuff I already know. So I'll head over to here, get ready to head out. And I'm going to stop there. It's a shorter one this time after a longer one last time. But this next go, I will be moving back to I'll be heading back to the market square and finishing off all the areas in the market square. So thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.